bipolar disorders, social anxiety disorders, post-traumatic stress disorders, persistent depressive disorders. These are the most common mental disorders or illnesses around the globe. Hi, my name is Muhammad Azhar Habalanji, and today I'm gonna talk about mental disorders with all of you. First of all, how many people know what mental illness is? Not a lot of people know about mental illnesses, and when you ask them who has a mental disorder, they probably say a crazy person, a depressed person, or someone who's constantly sad. Okay, then what is mental disorder? What does it mean? Well, mental disorders or mental illnesses are conditions that affect your thinking, your feeling, your mood, and the way you behave. This means not everyone with mental illnesses is always sad. How many mental disorders are around the world? Think about it and guess which number is correct. So, there are actually 200 classified mental disorders around the world, and 15 of them are for anxiety and depression. There are 8 forms for depression. First one is mild depression, which is the most common depression and usually is treatable via cognitive behavioral counselor. Postnatal depression, also known as PND, it is a term after giving birth to a child, and around 10 to 15% of mothers go through it. Bipolar disorder or manic depression. People with manic depression switch their mood frequently. Seasonal affective disorder, also known as SAD, happens with seasonal change. Usually this happens during winter, and treatment for this kind of depression is quite challenging because of the time frame. Dysthymia, also known as persistent depressive disorder or chronic depression. Chronic depression, it is a mood variation which is the reason make it hard to diagnose. Psychotic depression, the symptoms include hallucination. This depression is rare but also dangerous since it increases the risk of suicide. A typical depression, the symptoms are like dysthymia. However, people with a typical depression would improve their mood when something positive happens. Mixed depression with anxiety disorder. The symptoms are common with both anxiety and depression. Some of the symptoms for anxiety are shortness of breath and sweaty palms. Accident, sexual or physical assault, abuse, especially childhood abuse, are the causes for post-traumatic stress disorder, also known as PTSD. Spending time with friends, writing your thoughts and feelings are some example of activities that can help with PTSD. A lot of people suffer from mental illnesses. In fact, 1 in 4 people has mental disorders. In Canada, stats are not very different. 1 in 5 Canadians suffer from mental illnesses. 70% of mental health problems have their onset during childhood. Every 40 seconds, a person commits suicide around the globe. Canada's youth suicide rate is the 3rd highest in the industrialized world. One of the main reasons for all the suicides is mental illnesses, because people don't have enough knowledge about it and don't know the correct way of helping someone with a mental disorder. Alcohol, drugs also have influences on mental health. When someone uses drugs such as LSD and mushrooms in a long term, he may suffer from anxiety and depression even after his last dose. Strong alcohol, especially heavy drinking, can cause social anxiety with mixed depression. There is one more thing related to drugs and alcohol that could have good or bad influences on our mental health, and that is food. Because what we eat or drink can change our mood. For example, sugar. It gives the body temporary happiness, a good feeling, but when it's over, you feel tired and you don't want to do anything. When do you wake up on your days off? When do you go to bed? If you ask these questions from teenagers and people at their early 20s, you probably will not get an answer. It is because they don't have any plans, they don't have any routine for their lives, or they don't even have any goals to chase. And this is a reason for anxiety between young people. When you add too much air in a balloon, it will start losing air from its weakest point. And when you find where it was leaking air from, you must fix it and make sure there is always enough air in the balloon. Balancing is the most important part after it was fixed. Otherwise, the balloon will start losing air and even it may explode. People are like balloons. When you add too much complexity on a person, that person will eventually start losing from the weakest point. That's when someone starts drinking, smoking, physical illness, OCD, and etc. It's not because that person is weak, it's because he's at his limits and he doesn't even realize that. As it was mentioned, not having a routine or an aim to chase is a cause for anxiety and depression. When you want to get better, first thing you have to do is make a plan for yourself, have a routine. In our society, one thing that can help is having a job because it gives you a routine to follow. Communication with friends can be helpful. Sometimes just talking about the stuff that bothers you make you feel better because you will empty your mind from anger and emotions that may hurt you. Although going to a counselor is the most effective way to heal the mental disorders because they have the knowledge that most people do not have. Since pandemic, isolation became serious. Not to mention people lost their jobs and they ended up staying at home all day, and this ruined their routine of lives, and since there was no routine, anxiety became bold in their minds. That's when you have to negotiate with yourself to do small but effective things which can help you to improve your mental health. Mental disorders are like other illnesses. They can be treated with the right knowledge and the right time. Unfortunately, not everyone is comfortable to talk about their mental disorders with friends, even a therapist. Hopefully one day we can understand each other and help each other out with the knowledge that we gained. Thank you. Thank you for listening.